Hi guys, welcome back. In today's episode, we are back working on this custom built scooter. If you didn't see the original build, we do have a full video on how we got to there, but just a little recap. Basically, this started as a Razor MX350, which we cut up the frame, stretched it quite a bit, and then added a rear suspension system to it. And initial testing, it handled really well. The suspension worked well, but the one downside, and something that we didn't really address from the first one, was the lack of power. It's still on a 24 volt system, and it still has a 350 watt motor, which it didn't really perform great. And what we're going to do is convert it to a 48 volt system with a 3000 watt motor. So that should give it a little bit more gusto, and I think that should be sufficient. To get started, I think we're going to get this old 350 watt motor out of here and start figuring out how we're going to get the 3000 watt motor in there. So let's jump into that. To get this old motor out, it's just a couple of Allen head cap screws coming up from the bottom here. And that's it. Alright, we can try to squeeze this motor in here. And that's about where it's got to line up, but we've got these high edges and the motor hangs out over back here. So we're going to use these little nylon bushings as motor risers and lift it up a bit just to clear it. Something like that should give us just enough space. So then we're going to use the chain here to line up about where it's got to go. And it is the wrong pitch, but as of right now, it should help us just line it up, make sure we're in a good spot. Well, I think that's about where I want to go. So I'm going to start with transfer punch. Alright, that gave me my first hole, so we'll drill that out and then start lining them up. Okay, now with one hole drilled, I can throw a bolt and spacer through there to make sure that doesn't move around a whole lot, and then we can start lining up the other side. Oops. Well, hopefully that's close. Let's drill them and find out. Alright, now with these holes drilled out, we should be able to slide our motor through there. So put our bolts in. There's one. These bolts are a little bit long, but we might trim them out later. But the motor looks like it's pretty well centered there. So we can tighten these guys down then. We need to switch these sprockets over So we got to take this off, and it's a 10 millimeter on here and a 12 millimeter on here, and it's actually reverse threaded, so technically we're tightening to loosen, I guess. So they do make sprockets to fit this, but I don't want to wait, so I'm going to try to file this one down. And it's not going to be perfect because the other one has 2 flats. This one only has 1, so it could still spin, but we'll give it a shot. All right, so after a little bit of filing on there, we got it to fit. And it does have some slop, so that's not terrific. Hopefully this is long enough. There we go. Well, now we just wait and see how long this little sprocket holds together. All right, let's get this throttle off. With the throttle off now, we should be able to just disconnect this whole assembly. So we should be able to pop these batteries out and remove this plate. So now with all the old electronics cleared out, we can start figuring out how we're going to get this battery pack in there. And I think I'm going to go something like that, right in the center. And then I should be able to mount the speed controller up top, and I think that should work for us. The only thing is we have to build some kind of battery tray or box to, bolt everything down and keep this thing from sliding around. So I haven't figured that part out yet, but we'll figure it out. So I found some aluminum channeling sitting around, and I think if we cut it down and then rip one of these edges off, I should be able to make kind of like a tray and then just pop rivet it all together. So yeah, let's see how that goes. To make our battery tray thing, what we did is we took some of this U channel, cut it down into length, and then ripped off one of the sides, and then cut a V in here. And then we just did that twice. So now what we can do is take this and fold it down that edge. We might have to open up that gap a little bit, but the idea is that we'll then be able to take this in 2 halves and build our battery tray, and then just using these other pieces, we'll just kind of pop rivet them as like seams. Yeah, good enough. I mean, this should work, but if I'm going to be honest, this is probably one of the ugliest battery trays I've ever made. I mean, these angles don't even line up close. Yeah. I guess that happens when you start working on it at 11 o'clock at night. Oh well. So I cut up some more channel, and I'll be able to just use these as little mounting spots, I guess, and then we'll just pop rivet these flanges to the inside of here, and then we'll be able to run a nut and bolt down and kind of just tighten everything into place. Well, look at that. Our aluminum battery tray is put together. I ended up just adding in some some riv nuts in here, just so we don't have to hold nut and bolts while we do it. But I kind of skipped over that step. But you know, since only 6 guys and my mom watch this show, what do you want to see? Do you want to see like more in-depth details to the point where it's like using a, you know, 3/4 inch quarter 20 and 6 of them and cut, you know, or do you just kind of want to see like a brief overview? Let me know what you guys want to see. Type it in the comment section and I'll read it. And now we're ready to throw this guy on the board here, and we're just going to screw it down with some, just some sheet metal screws. Alright, just to test fit the battery then. It fits in there pretty good. And we are going to pack the sides with foam just so that, you know, the heads of the pop rivets aren't like hitting the battery or doing anything like that, just to protect it. Because man, these things are pricey, and you don't want to start popping holes and shorting these things out. So going through my my single-sided foam stash, I've got this big block which will probably be good for the front and back, because I did over measure that, so it'll be good. And then these smaller side ones should be good on the sides. Now what did I do with my knife? Yeah, it's a pretty good squeeze. I don't think that's going to be going anywhere on us. Cool. So we got the battery strapped down, and then the speed controller just kind of mounted to the side there. So I'm just kind of keep going and get our throttle hooked up here. Loosen that up a bit. There we go. I think there it looks all right. Right now I just have the handlebars laid back because otherwise they hit the light, so we'll have to adjust angle and stuff once we get it all put back up. But yeah, that's probably close. Yeah, something like that. Alright. I suppose we could start doing our wiring here. So, what is this one? Alright. We did take all these electronics out of our other project that we just finished, and that was Blue Steel, which was a really cool hubless full suspension build that we did. But we needed the electronics, so we ended up using them on this, but we had to reverse the motor on that side, so that means I have to switch some of these pins, and I don't remember offhand which pins, so I guess I'll have to go check a manual, if I can find the manual. So we got all our connectors plugged back in, and I think we're ready just to see if it'll work, and I hooked it up right. So power on. Oh, yes. I think the 48 volts is going to be much more fun than 24 volts. In the 350 watt motor replaced by, it's actually 2000. I think I may have said 3000 before, but after looking at it, it is 2000. So not nearly as impressive, but I think it'll still, yeah, it'll do the job. All right, let's finish tying up these wires make sure they're not going to get snagged on stuff, and then we should be ready to go rip this thing outside.
It doesn't look easy.
Where was he off?